In today's Sunday Spotlight, the man you see in that vintage photo from the Congressional Page class of 1939 right there, then elected to Congress in 1955, taking the seat held by his father. He has been there ever since. And soon, John Dingel will make history, becoming the longest-serving member ever on Capitol Hill. 57 years, 5 months, and 26 days. Congressman Dingel, congratulations.
Thank you, George. It's great to see you again and be back with you.
It's great to be with you. And boy, your brushes with history began so early. When you were a page, back in 1941, you were right there when Franklin Roosevelt gave that Day of Infamy speech.
I was in the gallery taking care of a very famous newsman who was to wire record Roosevelt. I let him record not just Roosevelt's speech, but the speeches that followed, which he was not supposed to do. And that's a little bit of the history that has been preserved for the country about how the people actually felt and how they behaved from the day in the Congress.
And when you got to Congress, you've now cast, I think, more than 25,000 votes. When you look at all of them, which one of them, if you can point out to one, is the most important to you?
I made a lot of important votes, but I've got to tell you, the one of which I'm most proud, and which I think was the most important, was the vote I cast on the '64 Civil Rights Bill that allowed citizens to vote. You'll remember the country was being torn apart by the denial to our people of the right to vote. And happily, that began a process that cured it, so that a black American citizen is now sitting in the White House.
That must have been an amazing moment for you to see him sworn after being there to vote for that civil rights bill.
It was, and it almost cost me my job.
How so?
Well, it had a very nasty election over it, and people said the Wall Street Journal gave me 1 in 15 chance of winning. And I just went around and told folks, I said, now, please explain to me why it is that a white man should be able to vote and a black man should not. And the response of my people was fair and decent, and they agreed with me. Although at the start of the debate, they really didn't.
Congress is a dramatically different institution since when you first came in 1955. What's the biggest change?
Lack of collegiality, refusal to compromise, an absolute reluctance to work together. And I think a total loss of the understanding of the traditions. When my dad went there, if a fellow, there were two things you could say about a member. One was he's sincere. That meant he was a good guy. You could trust him. Didn't make any difference whether you agreed with him or not. He was sincere. But if they said he's insincere, that put you behind and beyond the pale. Today, members are so busy getting reelected, spend so little time there. There's so much pressure on them from outside to be partisan and to fight, not to do the things that we're supposed to, such as compromising and working together. And compromise, if you got George, to be a dirty word. And this is a great shame. The Founding Fathers intended something quite different.
And how do you keep your sense of mission after all this time?
Well, you got to love the job, and you got to love the country, and you got to have goals and purposes and hopes. You've got to have a closeness with the people, and you've got to understand what their hopes and dreams and desires are. And I've got a pretty wonderful bunch of people in the 12th District of Michigan. They're wonderful, hardworking, decent people. And you get inspired just talking to those people.
And you served them well for more than half a century. Congressman, congratulations.
God bless you. Thank you.
And now we honor our fellow Americans who serve and sacrifice. This week, the Pentagon released the names of 2 soldiers killed in Afghanistan. That's all for us today. Thanks for sharing part of your Sunday with us. Check out World News with David Muir tonight, and I'll see you tomorrow on GMA.